Your OpenAI bill just got a new competitor. It lives in a spare tower in the corner of your office, and until this week, most business owners had a good reason to ignore it. The reason just died. A quiet merge on GitHub handed real AI capability another step down the ladder, from the big companies who could afford it to the small operators who now can too. Here is what actually changed and why the window on it is measured in weeks, not years. The title is not clickbait. A project called llama.cpp shipped support for something called multi-token prediction, targeted at DeepSeek V4 Flash. In English, the same $2,000 workstation that was too slow to be usable now spits out answers 2 to 3 times faster. No new hardware, just a free software update. And the last part of this video is the exact workload I would move off your API bill first this weekend if you were paying me to do it. Start with the money, because the technology only matters if it changes a line item. Every internal AI tool your team uses right now, the support triage bot, the document summarizer, the classifier that sorts your inbound leads, is running on somebody else's server. You pay per token. Every question, every answer, every backend call, another few cents. At $5,000 a month, you are burning 60 grand a year to rent capacity for work that is mostly repetitive and mostly internal. Put a real workload on that number. A support inbox handling 1,200 tickets a day at 1,500 tokens per reply is a $200 a day, $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year just for the triage layer. And triage is the least clever thing you ask it to do. I asked Claude to translate the news into what it means for an owner paying exactly that bill. The answer was blunt: support triage, document summaries, lead classification. All 3 are jobs a self-hosted open model handles well. The only reason you were still paying was speed. A cheap box was too slow to feel usable, so you kept renting. Speed just stopped being the objection. So what is multi-token prediction, in the one sentence your finance director actually needs? The model guesses the next few words at once instead of one at a time, then checks its own work. When it guesses right, and it usually does, you skip past whole chunks of wall clock time per answer. 2 to 3 times faster on the same silicon you already own. The technology is not the story. The story is that a $2,000 box that was borderline yesterday is comfortably usable today, and nobody sent you a bill for the upgrade. Do the math for yourself. Divide last month's OpenAI invoice by 12. The number you get is what you save per year per workload when you move even one thing off the meter. Now let me answer the question you actually want answered. What does a $2,000 box even look like, and can one developer stand it up without your business turning into an ML shop? Pull up the project on GitHub with me. 122,000 stars, 21,000 forks, 1,900 open issues, actual traffic, actual eyes on it, not some abandoned research repo. The pull request adding this support was authored by a contributor, reviewed in public, merged this week, and the notes report roughly a 50% speed up with the safe setting turned on. Stack that with the model's own tricks and you land in the 2 to 3 times range on a good day. The hardware is not exotic. 2 used RTX 3090 cards on Marketplace, or a single new 5090 if you want a warranty. 64 gigabytes of RAM, a motherboard your developer already knows how to build. Total $2,000 give or take. Your developer downloads a binary. Your developer downloads the weight file for DeepSeek V4 Flash. Your developer runs one command with a flag that turns MTP on. A chatbot answers your team on your own network. No account, no per token meter, no rate limit email from a support address that never replies. The whole thing runs on your electricity bill and depreciates like any other piece of office kit. The villain here is not OpenAI. The villain here is a monthly line item you are still paying out of habit, while the price of the alternative fell without anyone telling you. The winner is the operator who moves before their competitor runs the same math. The window is the next 3 months. After that, everyone in your niche has already run the numbers. So who else just lost pricing power? Let me be specific, because most channels dance around this. Hosted API providers charging premium rates for anything that is not frontier reasoning, they lose the floor, not the ceiling. GPT-5 and Claude Opus still win on hard problems. The workloads paying rent for the middle, the classification, the routing, the summarization, those workloads have a viable exit for the first time. GPU rental shops running last year's cards, they lose the mid-market. If a $2,000 tower does the job, why rent one for $80 a month forever? And then the big one. Agencies charging you $3,000 to $8,000 a month to build AI features that are, if you read the actual code, 200 lines of Python wrapping somebody else's API. Their moat just got shallower. Their margin was the gap between what you thought this cost to build and what it actually cost. The gap just narrowed to almost nothing. I am not telling you to fire your agency. I am telling you the next invoice they send you deserves a different conversation. Ask them what percentage of their monthly retainer is model API pass-through. Ask them what happens to the price if that number drops 90%. Ask them what their plan is when your competitor gets the same workload running for the cost of the box. 3 questions, 1 meeting, and you know if you hired a builder or a middleman. The right agency, the one worth keeping, will already have a hybrid plan. Local model for the volume work, frontier API for the hard edges. The wrong one will get defensive. Trust the reaction more than the answer. The good ones already know this shift is coming. They have been waiting for the right week to have the conversation with you. This is that week. Before I tell you what to move first, do this. Open your OpenAI or Anthropic billing dashboard yourself right now. Look at last month's total. Look at your top 3 endpoints by spend. The number you are deciding whether to keep paying is on that screen, not in this video. Under $1,000, the whole conversation is a nice to know. Between 1 and 5,000, you have a decision to schedule. Over 5,000, you have homework this weekend. Here is what I promised. The one thing I would actually do this weekend if this were my company. Rank your internal AI workloads by 3 things: volume, tolerance for latency, and how much it matters if the answer is 9 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10. The workload with high volume, patient users, and forgiving quality goes first, every time. 9 times out of 10, the winner is support ticket triage. Run the math live. 1,000 tickets a day, 90% of them routine. Each ticket $100 a year off your API bill at scale. Move triage to the local box, and you paid for the hardware in a single quarter, on 1 workload out of the 3 you own. Second place, internal document Q&A across your handbook, your SOPs, your knowledge base. Third, lead classification off an inbound form. All 3 are grunt work. All 3 are running on a model that is massively overqualified for the job at prices that assume you cannot walk away. You can walk away now. The move for Monday morning is not a project plan. The move is 1 email to your developer. 2 sentences. Which of our current API workloads would you move to a self-hosted DeepSeek V4 Flash box first, and what would it cost US to spend 1 weekend proving it? If your developer answers with a specific workload and a number, keep them and promote them. If your developer says we do not have anyone who knows how, hire someone for a 2-week consulting gig, not a full-time role, and let them build the first box. The point is not to become an ML shop. The point is to own 1 internal workload end to end, prove the numbers on your own bill, then decide what moves next. And the one nobody saw coming is this. The moment a $2,000 box beats your rented capacity on the 80% of work that is boring, the AI premium you have been paying stops looking like a floor and starts looking like a ceiling. Everything above that ceiling becomes optional. The operators who move now spend the next 18 months banking that difference, while their competitors are still asking their agency what MTP means. Everything I just broke down, the exact hardware list, the model download path, the 3 workloads I would move off the API first, and the template email I would send your developer on Monday, all of it lives in the Church of SEO Jesus, my free school community for operators using AI to undercut their bigger competitors. Free to join, link in the description and pinned comment. The self-host starter pack sits in the classroom section, ready for your developer this week. And if you want the exact playbook I use to decide when a workload is ready to leave the API meter, click the video on screen right now.